Death is supposed to be silent.
Wait. Final Destination ni zile vitu fulani zenye I'm pretty sure I've watched it but I'm not sure that I've watched it. Sijui kama mnapata hiyo weird combination. It was in that era that I was watching movies. Yani nilikuwa naona movies lakini sikuwa najua titles zao. Therefore, the video is called Why Final Destination Makes No Sense. It's supposed to make sense though. I don't know why.
Death is supposed to be silent and inevitable, and then you take a look at Final Destination, where Death sends the protagonist a preview, then a list, then a schedule. Why? Oh, and supposedly he has rules, but he broke them every single movie. Those are not the only things that make no sense, but there is a reason this franchise has run for 6 films, and it has nothing to do with death, so what's that reason? To get to that reason, we first have to walk through everything wrong with this franchise, or, well, wrong might not be the best word, because I love the franchise, really. Just things that don't add up. There's a lot. And the first thing appears before Death has even shown up himself. Alex Browning is on Flight 180. He gets a vision of the plane exploding, and, obviously he freaks out. And he gets a group off the plane explodes anyway. So, that's the opening, and it's the move that breaks the franchise. Death is the antagonist of this entire story. Death's whole job is silent and inevitable, so why is he sending Alex a nice little trailer? What does he get out of warning the target? The franchise has answers, and none of them survive thinking about for more than 10 seconds. Defense 1, the vision is a gift. A psychic gift? From whom? Death is the bad guy here. He doesn't hand out gift cards, he kills people. Defense 2, the vision is a curse. A curse from Death that helps the target escape death is the worst curse ever designed. If I curse you with the ability to dodge me, I've lost the fight before it started. And Defense 3, Death needs the orders to be witnessed. Whole forum threads on this one, by the way. The idea is Death runs on some kind of cosmic ledger and someone has to see the deaths before they happen for them to be properly logged. Which means Death, the supposedly omnipotent Reaper, runs on the same paperwork system as the DMV. Maybe ICE is a better comparison. Defense 4 is the funniest. This vision happens because the protagonist was never supposed to die in the first place, which means Death made a clerical error and the universe corrected it, so now Death has to spend an entire film fixing his own mistake. The Mortician will explain all this later. Wait until you find out he has a backstory, but before we actually get to the Mortician, someone has to die first. And that guy is Todd. He's at home in the bathroom, average day.
What about the people that died on the plane? If the person that was supposed to die was the guy that got the vision, sasa kama yeye ndo alikuwa anafaa kudedi, mbona watu wengine walikufa? Was that not enough? Was it targeted? Was it specific? Does Death know who he wants? I really need to rewatch the Final Destination again.
The toilet
I can't
is
remember all
leaking
this shit.
and water spreads across the floor. He almost slips a few times. I mean, he just misses the spilling water, goes about his evening cutting some hair out of his nose, but then he starts taking clothes off a clothesline strung above his bathtub. This is the point where Death would, in any sane universe, just stop his heart. Death is omnipotent, and he could pick any method he wants. He picks the
like the Death Note, a heart attack. Just like that, you're gone. Just like that, you're gone.
Clothesline. Todd slips and falls forward, rips the clothesline off the wall, and it loops around his neck. Now, he's hanging in his own bathtub and choking, and he tries to climb out. The shampoo and conditioner he just knocked over have spilled into the tub. Whoopsie! There goes.
I'm pretty sure sticky, slippery floor does not work like that.
Traction. He reaches for the scissors on the sink, doesn't quite get there, and he suffocates 39 days after Flight 180. That is what an omnipotent entity decided was the optimal way to kill a teenager. Now, zoom out. Death could have done this in 2 seconds, but he didn't. He engineered a sequence involving a toilet leak, a clothesline, 2 bottles of healthcare product, a sink full of scissors that were almost but not quite reachable, and a precise sequence of slips. Every step had to land. If the conditioner doesn't spill, Todd climbs out. If the scissors are 6 inches closer, Todd cuts the cord. If the leak doesn't start an hour earlier, Todd doesn't slip in the first place. This is the franchise's actual antagonist, and it's more or less coincidence. And I absolutely love it. It gets even better in Final Destination 5. Olivia goes in for laser eye surgery. Her head is clamped, and she's squeezing a teddy bear out of nervousness. Scary, right? The bear's glass eye pops out and falls on the floor. Meanwhile, the doctor leaves to grab a file. A cup of water she left on a water cooler tips over because the cooler bubbles. The water hits the laser machine's outlet, and she tries to reach the emergency stop and knocks the remote to the floor. which presses the activation button. The laser burns through her eye and then her hand. Wait, hold up, her eye laser's actually that strong? I'm rocking negative 2.5 contacts right now, but I'll definitely keep them my whole life if this is the only other way to fix them. Back to Olivia though. She gets off the table and she's in high heels. Of course, she's in high heels. And she trips on the teddy bear eye. She falls out the window, lands on a car, and her actual eye rolls into the road and gets run over by a different car. I have no idea how I'm gonna show all of this on screen yet without all that. Should have thought about that sooner, actually. Enjoy the blurs if that's what we end up using. Maybe we'll use badly drawn PNGs. But anyway, Death engineered all of that. Death could have stopped her heart in the elevator on the way up, but he chose the teddy bear. The Rube Goldberg kills are the franchise's signature, and people show up for him. And every single one of them is Death deliberately picking the slowest option available. That means we gotta give it to them, right? They make entertainment by making it look like freak accidents that could happen in everyday life. And because they're freak accidents, everything you see in the movie builds tension. We're not gonna question it if it makes any sense. Well, that would be one thing if Death's rules didn't contradict themselves and keep creating new ones. But what are those rules? In Final Destination 1, the rule is Death takes survivors in the order they would have died on the plane. Save someone, Death skips them and goes to the next person in line. Alex saved Carter, Billy dies next. Clean rule, right? Then, in Final Destination 2, a brand new rule. New life cancels Death's chain. Pregnant women giving birth, people drowning and getting resuscitated, anyone whose existence wasn't supposed to happen yet, they all count. The mechanic was not mentioned in the first film, and the first film also had none of those things, which was probably lucky for them. Then, in Final Destination 3, the warning signs are now photographs. Wendy takes pictures at a carnival, and the pictures predict the deaths. Photographs were also not a rule in films 1 and 2. They just are now. Then, in Final Destination 5, the biggest change. You can kill someone to take their time. Just murder another human being, and Death adds their remaining years to your account. This rule has never existed before, and Sam and Peter find out about it in a conversation with the mortician. I'll still come back to this mortician later.
Wait a minute. We kill someone, we get their life? Is that what you're telling me?
And from there, the movie basically turns survival into a murder economy. Nathan accidentally kills someone, Peter takes the rule very literally, Sam ends up killing Peter to save Molly. Every film adds another loophole, and somehow, Bloodworth is always standing nearby, explaining Death like he's worked in customer service for the afterlife. He shows up in 4 of the 6 films. He's the guy who walks into the scene, explains the rule the writers just invented, and walks out. He never explains where he learned any of it, and he never explains why Death lets him walk around freely telling everyone the rulebook. Tony Todd plays him with the perfect amount of do not ask me follow-up questions. For 25 years, he's just there. The franchise's rules guy, and he's cool. Then, Bloodlines came out in 2025. Turns out, Bloodworth was at the Skyview restaurant in 1969. He was a small child. A woman named Iris had a vision that the building was about to collapse and got a group of people out, including young Bloodworth. Death has been hunting their descendants ever since. Bloodworth survived because the rules say Death can't touch him until Iris and all her descendants are dead. Bloodworth has been a survivor this whole time, and he spent more than 50 years walking around watching other people die because Iris saved him in 1969, and the Order has not caught up to him yet. The franchise just retconned its own oldest character into the foundation of the entire universe, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm right about the retcon, that means the universe...
Somebody got paid to come up with this bullshit. You know that? You understand that? Somebody got paid to make this mysterious, omnipotent... I think they were trying to do Death Note, but terribly. For lack of a better word. The more time gets past, what? If you kill somebody the time that they should have had, it gets passed on to you, but the person was already marked for death. Therefore, their time was no longer applicable. What? Somebody got paid for writing this bullshit.
Didn't have a foundation until 2025. The rules Bloodworth had been explaining for 25 years weren't real. Is that so? Well, I have no idea, actually. I'm a guy making subpar videos on YouTube. Don't expect me to have too much knowledge. But the survivors? You can expect more of them. They could have ended all of this in week 1. But how? Well, How to Beat had already laid it out before. You can just beat him off. F***ing beat Death. Step 1, stop driving. Death has used cars in every single film. You do not need a car. Walk. Step 2, stop using electricity. Death loves a frayed wire. cut the power to your house, light by candlelight. Actually, no, candles are fire. Death loves fire. Live in the dark. Step 3, no salons, no gyms, no tanning beds, no laser eye surgery, no carnivals,
Just
no
don't
tower
leave.
bridges, no Comic-Con, no racetracks. You can live without a six-pack. Step 4, padded room. Lock the door, get a bedpan, order delivery, and expect every package for sharp objects. The delivery guy stays outside. That is a survivable life. Well, at least it was 100 years ago.
That was
Nowadays,
crazy.
we
That
can't
was
live without
cuckoo.
arguing with strangers online or doom scrolling on TikTok for at least 3 hours a day. But
least.
what does the franchise have its survivors do? Carter, having survived the train tracks once, takes a Paris vacation with Alex and Clear. A bus crashes, a sign falls, and Carter pushes Alex out of the way. The sign swings back and crushes Carter. The number on the sign? 180 backwards. The same pattern across every film. People who watch their friends die in elaborate accidents will, within a few days, return to gyms, salons, racetracks, swimming pools, and roller coasters, voluntarily. The script has them do it because if they didn't, the film would last 15 minutes. If any of these characters had locked themselves in a padded room, the
Again, somebody got paid to write this bullshit.
bedpan, they would still be alive. They wouldn't feel alive, but they'd be alive. Bloodworth would have nobody to lecture, and the films would have to end. Or Death would just take my suggestion and start stopping hearts. Am I talking in circles right now? Hear me out
Exactly.
though. This is the moment where the rules are supposed to matter. Where someone says, follow these specific instructions and you survive. Bloodworth has been showing up
Why create rules of a universe if you're not gonna follow them and gonna make up new ones for the next movie?
for 25 years explaining the order, and nobody listens. The rules don't actually do anything, which the franchise knows. The franchise is
It
known for
doesn't
25 years,
matter.
and it kept trying to fix it. Every fix made it worse. Final Destination 4 was called The Final Destination. The title was doing some heavy lifting. The lore had gotten messy, and the studio basically gave it a name that read like a tombstone. It came out in 2009, and critics hated it. The studio took 2 years
Sounds
to figure
terrible.
out what to do. Then, in 2011, Final Destination 5 came out with a pretty clever fix. For the entire film, we think Sam and Molly are post-Flight 180 survivors of a bridge collapse. The mortician explains the kill someone take their time rule, the bodies pile up, and Sam and Molly make it out. They board a plane to Paris to start their new life. The plane, oh my god, is Flight 180. The fix was to make Final Destination 5 a prequel. Sam, Molly, and the other survivors are the people sitting near Alex Browning at the start of the first film, and the bridge collapse happens before Flight 180. Every survivor we just watched fight for their life dies in the original explosion. That is a great twist, right? It also
Yeah,
means the
I
film
mean,
just
it's
retconned the
interesting.
survivors of the first film into part of an even bigger order that came before, which is great for the twist,
man,
but
it's
bad
some
for the
more
rules because, you
bullshit.
know, if Death runs sequences forward through Flight 180 and Destination 1, and forward through the bridge in Destination 5, the bridge survivors are the Flight 180 victims, then Death is running two overlapping queues across the same people at the same time, and somehow keeping the paperwork straight. Death should, oh my god, please do my taxes.
What?
I'm sure you do it well, right?
What?
For 14 years, no Final
Now I'm
Destination
confused.
film. The series quietly died. Or, so you thought. Then, in
Bloodlines.
2025, Bloodlines came out. The fix this time was the generational reset. Iris Campbell has a 1969 vision of the Skyview collapse, and she saves dozens of people, including young Bloodworth. Death hunts their descendants for the next 56 years. Iris's granddaughter Stefani inherits the vision, and the order now runs across bloodlines, which is, again, a great twist. Also, again, bad for the rules.
Bad for the
Because if
rules.
Death has been hunting Iris's family since 1969, then the Flight 180 deaths and every other Final Destination disaster were happening while Death was already mid-job on the Skyview descendants, which means Death has been juggling multiple multi-generational cues across 6 films and 4 decades. The audience clapped harder, Bloodlines made a lot of money, and the franchise is back. Did anyone come back for the rules? No. The
No.
rules are now worse than they are in 2009, and people came back because the kills came back. Bloodlines has its own absurd opening Rube Goldberg sequence at the Skyview, and that's what got the audience in the door. Every fix has made the lore more incoherent, and every fix has also made the
Forget the lore, just make a movie about people dying for no reason, but if the rules don't even make sense, why are they bad rules in the first place?
franchise more popular, which is the whole point, and the lore was never doing the work. And if the lore wasn't doing the work, what is? Honestly, Final Destination's actual product is a particular kind of dread. The kind where you sit in a salon chair and the chair feels different now. Okay, what a horrible way to describe it. Let me try again. It's more or less like suddenly seeing plane crashes on your feet the moment you step into your flight. That particular kind of dread where, statistically you're good, but still some feeling of dread lingers with every bit of turbulence and every sound you convince yourself the plane has never made before. That feeling does not care about the rules. It cares that the same things that kill people in this franchise are the same things that almost killed you last Tuesday. The closer the franchise stays to that feeling, the better it works. The further it gets, and the more it has to invent a mortician. The proof is in Final Destination 2. The open sequence on Route 23. Kimberly Corman is driving onto a highway entrance ramp, and a logging truck ahead loses its load. Logs hit the pavement, and logs slam through the windshields, SUVs flip, and a garbage truck plows through cars. A gas tank ignites, and the highway turns into a fireball. There is no mortician in that scene. There was no kill someone take their time rule being explained. There was a truck full of logs and a highway, and physics doing what physics does on a highway when logs are loose. Oh, God, it has been called the greatest car.
That has traumatized everybody into not driving behind logs.
Crash scene in movie history. It works because death is not in it. Death doesn't have to be in it. The accident is what death does in real life, and the film is just pointing at it, like, hi. Every time the franchise has tried to add rules that add to that feeling, the rules have weakened the feeling. The trick is the chaos, and the lore is the cleanup, which brings us back to Bloodlines. Tony Todd played Bloodworth across 4 films in 25 years. He died in November of 2024, rest in peace. But Bloodlines came out 6 months later, with Bloodworth in it for the last time, and a backstory the character had been waiting his whole life to get. The film is dedicated to him. The franchise grew up, and the character became someone the franchise was clearly going to miss. Bloodworth's last scene is the franchise admitting on screen that the character was always doing more emotional work than rulebook work. He was the one person across the entire universe who had been told he could not die yet, and he was tired. He deserves some rest. And it tells you what the franchise has actually always been doing. Final Destination is a Rube Goldberg machine, and the story doesn't matter, and neither do the rules.
It doesn't matter. Okay. If it doesn't matter, then I'm not gonna watch the hell the rest of it.
Bloodworth exists to walk in between set pieces and explain why the next set piece is allowed. We did not watch 6 films because we needed to know why Iris saved Bloodworth in 1969. We don't.
Is the anticipation that builds up when you're watching some bullshit build up until the person actually dies.
Care about that part.
It's why 1,000 Ways to Die was very successful.
We watched 6 films for the log truck, the tanning bed, the clothesline in the bathtub, the chain reaction in the kitchen, the laser eye surgery, and the teddy bear's eye in the road. And we always knew, nobody walks into a Final Destination film for the lore or things to make sense. They give us the kills and we forgive the rules. That is the reason the franchise has run for 6 films, and that is what the intro promised. It has nothing to do with death. The kills are...
That lady was running around on fire. That's a good video. Wait. Like the video. Yes. Insane. We do not go for the lore or the story. As I said, this is Zero to Flanes and Samanga. And I want a solo leveling for the fights and the boom and the kabloos. Go watch Final Destination for the deaths and the Goldberg machines.